Hey guys, Midnight here. Welcome to my build tutorial. For this build, you will need 72 orange terracotta, 84 orange concrete, 33 orange wool, 106 spruce slabs, 20 spruce stairs, 8 spruce trapdoors, 7 stripped spruce logs, 8 jack-o'-lanterns, 28 barrels, and 28 item frames. The outline. The first step to making a pumpkin wagon is to outline the shape you want it to be. Technically, this shape can be any variation of round, but if you want to follow what I did exactly, then here's a guide. You'll need 36 orange terracotta for this step. You're going to want to pick a spot on the outline to build from, then, starting one block above the ground, so that way there's a gap between the terrain and the terracotta, you'll start building the pattern in orange terracotta. Once you've done that, you're going to want to find the long side of the outline, then break the 2 middle blocks on each side. Finally, after you've completed the outline, you check to make sure that it's correct, as everything else works off this outline. If you've built it right, then it should be symmetrical on both axes. If you can't split in half along these lines, then you've built something wrong. No biggie, but now's the best and easiest time to fix it before we continue with our build. All good? Then now it's time to move on to the walls. For the walls, you're going to need 14 orange terracotta, 33 orange concrete, and 17 orange wool. First, you'll want to go around the outline and build up with 2 blocks of orange terracotta about every 3 to 4 blocks. This will form the illusion of the grooves on the pumpkin. After this is done, you're going to fill in the rest of the space on the outline with orange concrete. This will take more blocks than I've listed, but you will get them back by the time you finish. Once you've filled in the gaps, you're then going to replace some of the orange concrete with orange wool to add depth to the color. I personally placed it mostly next to the orange terracotta pillars, so as to ease the transition between the terracotta and the concrete, but a little bit of wool scattered randomly throughout also looks nice. The floor. This step is pretty simple. It only requires 100 spruce slabs. All you need to do is fill in the space within the outline with the slabs. You'll want to place them half a block below the bottom of the walls. The easiest way to do this is to first place one block on the ground and place a slab next to it on the upper half. Then connect each new slab to the previously placed one. That way you don't have to build up every time. This should make it so the top of the flooring is even with the bottom of the walls, as seen in this diagram. Once you finish filling in the floors, it'll be time to start on the wheels. You'll need 16 spruce stairs for this step, with each wheel using 4. The placement of these on the wagon can be a little tricky, so I've made a simplified version to make it easier to see. On each wheel, the 2 top stairs should be upright with their backs against each other, while the 2 lower stairs should be upside down, also with their backs against each other. The doorways. The doorways require 4 spruce stairs and 8 spruce trapdoors. First, you're going to want to place an upside down stair on each side of the gap in the walls, with the back of the stair against the block. Then, of course, do the same thing to the other opening. Once you've placed the stairs, you'll need to place and close trapdoors to cover the wall blocks underneath them. And now you have doorways! The roof. For the roof, you're going to need 25 orange terracotta, 51 orange concrete, 16 orange wool, 7 stripped spruce logs, 6 spruce slabs, and 4 jack-o'-lanterns. You're going to start your roof by continuing the orange terracotta pillars, but a block in instead to mimic the curve of the pumpkin. Then, you'll fill in the remaining space in the row with a mix of orange terracotta and a little bit of orange wool. Repeat this for another layer, and make sure that you preserve the orange terracotta pillars, as it's pretty easy to accidentally build over them. Now it's time to actually close off the pumpkin. There are a couple of different ways to do this, and get the same result, but here's the way I did it. I first built the entire layer with orange concrete. Then I replaced some of the orange concrete with orange terracotta continued lines, and I made them connect in the general center of the pumpkin. Finally, I replaced select spots on the orange concrete with orange wool. That's the actual pumpkin done, but we still have to build the stem. In the center of 4 blocks of the roof, you'll want to place 4 stripped spruce logs facing up. Then, place 4 spruce slabs diagonally from each corner of the square. Next, you'll want to pick 3 of the stripped logs and place another log on top of each of them. Then, find the corner block of those blocks and place a spruce slab on it. Finally, place another slab half a block above the first one and 1 block off the stem. The last step of the roof requires you to go inside the pumpkin. Find the center 4 blocks on the inside and break them. This should reveal the underside of the stripped logs. Then, you should replace the blocks you broke with jack-o'-lanterns. Don't forget to make sure that the stems of the jack-o'-lanterns are facing down. And that's the roof, which means it's now time to move on to the shop. The shop design is kind of up to you, but if you want to follow exactly what I did, then you're going to need 28 barrels and 28 item frames. First, you're going to go to each end of the pumpkin and fill in the 4x3 area with barrels that face out. Next, place an item frame on each barrel. These will show what is in each barrel while you're running your shop. Once you've done that, you'll want to take the remaining barrels and scatter them around the floor of the shop. Then, place an item frame on top of each one. And that's it for the interior, which means it's now time for the exterior. Finally, we've reached the exterior. This step is pretty easy this time and only requires 4 jack-o'-lanterns. On each doorway, you're simply going to place a pumpkin on each side to frame the entrance. Now that we've finished the exterior, the pumpkin wagon is done. But don't forget to stick around for the build tour at the end of the video. So, before we start our tour, I just want to say that if you made it this far in the video, then you presumably like my content. Or you don't, and you've hate watched this entire thing, which, weird, but okay. Either way, you're pretty invested, and I've invested a lot of time and effort into this tutorial. So if you wouldn't mind popping down below the video and giving it a little like and subscribe, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks! Now on with our tour. This stunning one-room pumpkin wagon may sound small, but it still has plenty of space for all your shop designing desires. With room for barrels along both the walls and the floor, it is a perfect fit for all your cozy shop dreams. The exterior consists of multiple lovely shades of orange, with spruce wood working as a simply charming accent. The general pumpkin shape gives the wagon the perfect cozy yet cute vibe for an early game build. Of course, everyone always asks about mob prevention measures, and with this wagon you're in luck, as it comes with 2 jack-o'-lanterns at each door to light up any dark areas you may be traveling through. Now that's about it for the tour. Thank you again for choosing Midnight Dawn Realtors for your build buying needs. If you have any questions, feel free to put them down in the comments, and best of luck with your building journey! Thank you so much for checking out my build tutorial. If you want to see my design process for this build, then check out the video on the left. If that's not quite your cup of tea, then try checking out the video that YouTube is recommending on the right. Thanks again for watching!